And we are squeezing every drop, too. Who knew? Hello, and welcome to this part of the pond, where it's the bullfrog and the one, the only, Newt.
Face reveal at 100,000 subscribers.
We want the subscribers. You want that face, so please come and do. And also check us on the Discord. And, whew, okay, we didn't know how epic of a character this woman is. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this, for those who are brand new and watching this, here in the pond, we have a goal to find out who is Disney's worst. Worst as in the deadliest, the darkest, the I am the night villain. And for that, we are going through each villain individually, and we're going to go through them through a formula. And the formula is, well, this mathematical and this essay side. And if you want more of an idea of what this is, go here to find out more. And let's get finally to the end of Tremaine. I didn't know she would be a three-parter. Her acts of villainy actually begins with the intro prologue, if you will, marrying Cinderella's dad. And after the dad died, she took control of the house and overspent it to the point where everything was sold and Cinderella being, well, free labor because they can't afford anything else. This could be a con, and it should be a con. But I can't help but go, or is that her overspending and putting Cinderella to that point is actually what made Lady Tremaine to Lady Tremaine? Because we've talked about this a lot through each and every video, how these two are constantly at war. That Cinderella does her best to fight against Tremaine, but this is not a war with fisticuffs. This is a war of words. From if
you get all your work done,
to do you like my dress? Each one of these bits are actually attacks to each other. I can't help but go, if Tremaine didn't spend all that money, would Tremaine be Tremaine with her mindset? We overdid it in her power and how sharp her mind is and how we can actually time it. And I can't help but go, would she have that ability if she didn't overspend and lose everything? So that con of ruining both of their finances, and I mean both. Cinderella's house, you see, is amazing. So Tremaine's family line, where she had the same amount of money. So she actually depleted both of each other. And she overspent it on her daughters, which, let's face it, was the worst investment she ever did. I mean, that was one of her dumbest moves. But yet, we wouldn't have this, would we? The cruel mind, this conundrum. I can't help but go, yeah, it should hurt her, but at the same time, it gave birth to both Tremaine and Cinderella. And seeing that she's just milking Cinderella and just enjoying the war for all of these years. I mean, what would that be? Like 10, 11 years maybe? Maybe 10 years? That has to amount to something. Unlike the live action remake, Cinderella, we never saw Cinderella leave the house until it was the ball. So she never got the chance to explore or talk to people. Cinderella only knew those three, and probably her dad. But before I can get more into that, I mean, just the war itself. Okay, I know I've talked about it so much, but we have to point this out. You can't have Tremaine without Cinderella. You can't have Cinderella without Tremaine. They made each other. And that is probably Tremaine's greatest act of a villain, making Cinderella stand up and be independent and trying her best to have a voice, but yet Tremaine learning and batting it down. And there's kind of a question to Cinderella's dad's death. Was it natural or not? Bullfrog, that's pushing it. It was just natural causes. The woman doesn't know anything about death or killing people. Are you so sure you want to go that? The glass slipper scene, I think, is her most notorious, and this is why. This is why. When Cinderella comes down those stairs and says, "Let me try it on," Tremaine says this. Oh, I want to say it, make sure I say it right. Tremaine blocks the Grand Duke, just kind and cuddly, like, yeah, yes, yes. Notice what she says when she talks to the Grand Duke? She's an imaginative child. Tremaine thought Cinderella was going to say she was the one at the ball, and she prepared for that discussion before it happened. She knew, and she had a defense for it. But what did the Grand Duke say? My orders were every ageable maiden. Did you notice that O face? That wasn't Cinderella. That was the Grand Duke caused that face. And why is this the most notorious piece? She took revenge and also prevented Cinderella with the glass slipper. And all that happened with her seeing I could just trip the fool. We talked about how fast her mind was reeling and how it came up with that in Power. I will never watch this scene the same way again with her breaking the glass slipper. Is because of what the Grand Duke says. What the Grand Duke reacts to. He's disappointed. He's going through these emotions, but then he says one thing. The king, what will he say? What will he do? And in that scene, what does Lady Tremaine's face do? She is smug about it. A man is about to die. She actually knows that's going to happen. And it's actually foreshadowed that it is possible. We see it with the king and the Grand Duke discussing the glass slipper.
You'll try this on every maid in my kingdom. And if the shoe fits, bring her in. Your Majesty.
That actor who plays the Grand Duke, let's give him credit, people. That was good. When we're kids, we didn't get it, but after realizing he will die, I can't help but go, you were willing to kill just because someone got in your way? I mean, this is not like got in your way, but actually interfered and touched you and brushed you aside. That is her darkest moment. Where does this put her? She is probably one of Disney's first philosophically well-managed character. And yet, we kind of show off that she has some flaws. She overspent, but at the same time, that made her greater in a way. And with her limitations, with what power she had, she was able to control almost every aspect of it and enjoyed the rebellion that Cinderella had. And not letting Cinderella have glory, but also wanting to, what I think is actually she wanted to keep the war alive. It's all about the war. It's all about her keeping that battle. And Cinderella just losing hope and willing to kill a man. Who knows, maybe two. And the power not to rule a kingdom, she never wanted power for power's sake. The power she wanted was meant for her daughters. She was actually selfless. So her want of power is not really power. She wanted to rule Cinderella and only Cinderella. That's it. So it puts her in an interesting perspective. Also, kind of shows off why I think the live action failed so miserably. The live action was her. She wanted power for the sake of power. She wanted to climb up and rule. Well, this one, I just want Cinderella. I just want one person. Sometimes the biggest threat is the one that doesn't want the kingdom, but just you. Ugh. Isn't that a conundrum? I don't want power, makes her better. I'll give my daughters power, that makes her dumb. It doesn't add up. And the way how she just looms on the screen and what she does, and we went through this too much. Gosh, it's just so memorable. It's so iconic. I think Tremaine, mathematically, she screams red. But acts of villainy, I think it's still iconic. It's still amazing. And what she does to Cinderella, the love of the war, and how she just wants to rule over Cinderella for absolutely forever. I am at a loss. This is probably the hardest villain to ever put into a thing. I think her... Red or yellow, people? Red or yellow? Low red or a high yellow? This is not a coin flip. I want to be true to this essay. I want to be true to where she goes. I don't want the mathematics to affect the acts of villainy. And yet her acts of villainy is still so hard. Yes, hard. To one man killed. Honestly, this is so rough. Okay, Newt? With what you just gathered, what you just listened to, what do you think this puts her?
You know, I think I'm gonna have to excuse myself because she is one of my choices. So I don't want to throw my bias in there.
Oh my gosh. This is a hard character, people. Cinderella is a simple movie. It's not. 3 videos to prove it. It's so philosophical. And Tremaine, where do we put her? I've been working on this for days. I mean, that's a lie, months. And yet to not know where after all of this? Where to put her? Is she a low red or a high yellow? It's one of the two. But yet, it feels like it's doing too much and doing too little. It's this weird spot that she puts us through. You know what? I can't believe I'm saying this. But you know how a little bar, Newt, you know how you do the bars to figure at the very end and we show off where everyone is? Put Tremaine in between, sharing the low red and the high yellow. Well, we don't know where she is. It's gonna take the free-for-all to finally figure out where Lady Tremaine is. She has to be compared to other villains. This is the best way how to solve it. Because she is too... she's too contradictory. Her hurts, her limitations make her bigger. Her grandiose plans help and hurt her. She's in this weird conundrum. She is too philosophical. Even her acts of villainy, I can't help but go, where? Gosh dang it, this is probably the best way how to do it. She has to be compared. She cannot stand alone. This is it. This is probably what we have to do. She breaks the formula. Tremaine breaks the formula. Did anyone see this coming? No, did you?
Not at all.
Do you agree?
Like I said, That's gotta be our best option, because I'm obviously gonna be biased towards one way, so I think this is the best way to do it.
This is what we're down to. And we'll wait till then. And please tell us, what do you think is, we are gonna hold to this, but yet I want to know what you guys think after 3 videos and how she is just too much. Do you agree or disagree? Do you feel like there's something more? Because your discussions, no joke, will help Lady Tremaine in the free-for-all. It may be who knows how long, but yet we will have your documents on a file, so that way, when the free-for-all happens, when we're gonna figure out where these villains go, your words and comments are really gonna be what can help Tremaine. This is no longer just the pond. It needs you guys, because she needs to deal with outside forces to figure out where she goes. She's broke the frog. She's broken the formula. Did anyone expect this? Well, until next time, it's the Bullfrog and the Newt signing out.
What?
Okay, how did this happen?
And maybe not so much an underdog, but still my underdog pick is going to be the stepmom from Cinderella.
Ooh.